Hello guys, in this video I want to compare Lubuntu, Xubuntu, Linux Mint Xfce edition and Debian Xfce. If you want to use older hardware or just a system with the important features, then this video is the right one for you. We will compare the systems in terms of system settings, the installation of software, the capability of the desktop itself, or better to say, the file manager, and in the end we will compare the system resources and startup time of each distro. So I would say let's start. At first, let us take Lubuntu. If I want to install some software, you can do this by, it's an Ubuntu spin-off with the LXQt desktop. We have a very simple taskbar at the bottom, and at the bottom left our very simple menu with a small search. For example, if I want to search for software, we don't have any luck. I could search for Discover, then we find it because the software center of Lubuntu is called Discover. So let us open it up. It's the default from the KDE desktop or project, and let us search for Bitwarden. In this case, I want to install Bitwarden on every of the 4 distros. I search for it, and here we have it. Here it is. We have a snap package called Bitwarden, and yeah, you can install it. I already installed it, and yeah, you can launch it and yeah, just have fun with your new Bitwarden app. So I would say installing software here is quite okay, and through the Snap Store you have a high availability of many software projects, which I like very much. Currently there's no Flatpak installed, but if you want you can install it on your own. It will work quite fine. So let us head over to our next distribution. This is Xubuntu. Xubuntu is also an Ubuntu spin-off with the Xfce desktop. It is quite slick, modern, elegant, I would say. It has a really nice icon theme. It's the icon theme of Elementary, and we have our applications menu on the top left corner here, and we have something like favorites, and then our other apps also in some categories with a great search. It's the whisker menu of Xfce. I like that very much. And yeah, if we want to install some software, is it quite easy. We can directly select software here in our favorites, and it is starting GNOME software, and it also comes with Snap pre-installed. So if I search here for Bitwarden, we see, yeah, there's our Bitwarden, and I also installed it already, and yeah, it's just a normal Ubuntu Snap, and there's also no Flatpak installed by default. You can do this also on your own. It should be no problem. So please beware of, if you're using Lubuntu or Xubuntu, you will be using Snap all the time. At the first thought, that is completely okay. On the second thought, I would say Canonical is the monopolist about Snap. It isn't a thing from the community, it is a thing from a company. The FlatHub instead with Flatpak is community driven and is much more in the Linux mentality like Snap, I would say. So let us head over to the next distribution. This is Linux Mint Xfce. We have a traditional desktop layout here too. We have a start menu in the left bottom corner, and we also have some favorites with a software manager. It is almost the same menu like in Xubuntu. It's also the whisker menu, and I like it very much. And yeah, if you want a traditional desktop layout with a rich set of features, I would say this would be your solution. Let us open up our software manager. It's the Mint software manager in this case, and I'm searching here also for Bitwarden. Here we have it. I select Bitwarden, and I also did install it because yeah, it's completely easy. It is completely easy. You click on install, and yeah, you have it there. So as you see, it isn't using the Snap Store by default. It is using Flatpak and the FlatHub. I would say it's a bit more in the direction of freedom, but you can also, if you want, install the Snap Store after it, and it will also work quite fine. Let us come to Debian Xfce. I only installed it with the default settings. I didn't do anything too much, I would say, you also don't have a software manager by default. The only software manager you have is the Synaptic Package Manager. It's a great tool for apt packages, but how you will see in a second, we don't have any Bitwarden package because it isn't in the software sources by default. So what to do? I would say let us do this via Flatpak. So for that we have to install Flatpak for us. I'm going to the Linux App Store, FlatHub here. I select Setup FlatHub and select my distribution. I'm using Debian in this case, and I'm selecting apt install Flatpak. I can do this with sudo because I left my root password empty in the installer. So sudo apt install Flatpak. I install it, perfect. After that I'm going to install the GNOME software plugin Flatpak, and with it the GNOME software manager is also coming with us because it isn't installed by default for us. And now we can install the FlatHub repository or add the FlatHub repository to Flatpak. This isn't added by default. I enter this one and now we have our Flatpak repo from FlatHub. After that I have to restart my system. I would do this, and after that we can also install the most Linux applications which are out there. And let us wait for a second. I launch it. You can also find it in the menu somewhere. And let us download the software catalog. After some time, okay, GNOME software is ready, and we search for Bitwarden here, and hopefully we will find it. Here we have it, Bitwarden, and I select install, and now it is installing in some time. Perfect. After that we can open it up or also find it in our application menu under accessoires, I would say. Here we have it, and we can start using Bitwarden now. It's a very good password manager. I'm using it all the time. So perfect. That was it for Debian. And let us head over to a complete another topic, and that is the desktop by itself and the file manager. So let us start it up. In Lubuntu we have the PCman FM Qt by default, and I would say this is a very basic file manager, and but it is also quite performant, I would say. It has, I think, everything important you need for a file manager. We have some different views here. That's perfect. Or we can just navigate through our folders. This is quite okay. But let us check if we have something like a tool list mode. So we have some tool lists on the left and on the right side, like in Midnight Commander. I would say, let's see, we have a side pane here. We have a split view here. I select this one, and here we have it. Then we have something like in the Midnight Commander. I very like this layout, and you can now navigate between the two sides and copy something from the run to the other side, which is great in this case. Let us head over to the zip handling. Does it come with everything we need? At first, let us unzip it. I could right click here and select extract here. Perfect, this is what I want. It's completely fast. If I double click it, we also have something called like file archiver. I guess it's something of LXQt also. It's a great small program. I would say you don't miss anything here. And in the end we have to also compress some folders. I right click this folder and select compress, and in the end we also have our LXQt archiver here. I could define a password and also the file type I want to choose, and in the end I select save, and after some time we have our Linux assistant bundle.tar.gz. Perfect, that is what I want. In the end I want to add a symlink to the desktop. I right click my downloads folder here and search for something like symlink. There isn't anything, and also if I head over to edit, I don't also see anything like that. That is very disappointing, but you can create a link by hitting the Control and the Shift key together and then drag and drop this one to, for example, the desktop. And now if I'm in the desktop, we have a symlink to downloads folder here. This is what I want. And if I close this one, we also have our symlink up here. And yeah, I can now reach my downloads folder very, very fast. And which is also very cool, the PCman FM stores how the view was, so the split view keeps activated, and this is very cool in this case. So yeah, after that I would say let us head over to Xubuntu, how it is going with Xubuntu. On Xubuntu we have our tuner package manager, and it is the oldest one of the other 3 distributions which also are having the tuner. And so to say, we don't have any split view or something like that. That's kind of sad, but I would say in the next LTS version of Xubuntu, which is the version 24.4, and then Xubuntu also has a great split view. Let us head over to the handling of zip files. I right click the zip file here and select extract here. Perfect. This is what I want, and here we have our Linux Assistant bundle. And if I double click it, we also find something like I think it is called Xarchiver. No, it is called ngramper here. And yeah, we also have a great zip tool here, and we can edit our zip file. But in the end, I want to create zip files also. So I right click this bundle file here and select create archive. Perfect. And now we can define also our file ending here, and also some options like, for example, a password, which is great. I would say this is a bit easier like the one of the Alex Qt desktop, but I guess that's completely okay. And now let us check if we can create a link to some folder, for example, the downloads folder to the desktop. I select edit. Here I can say make link. Perfect. Now I have a link to downloads. I would say it isn't quite major, some like, for example, the Linux Mint Xfce desktop. So let us head over here to our file manager. It is also the tuner, but it is in a very new version in Linux Mint 21.2. For example, I select help about here, and we have our tuner version 4.18. This is great. On Xubuntu we still have 4.16. So then we have also our split view in here. I select split view, and yeah, we also now have a view on both sides, which is a great feature in my opinion. We can also create a symlink by just right clicking it. For example here, sorry, it is German in this case. I don't know how it is German. I installed the system in German because I did also a German video recording on that before, and yeah, it doesn't update to the English language again. Sorry for that. But yeah, it is called make link. Yeah, we can also create a link to, for example, the music folder. Let us head over to the zip handling of Linux Mint. I would say it isn't quite exciting. It is exactly like in Xubuntu. So yeah, I would skip that for now. It just works, and that's okay. So let us head over to our Debian machine. Here we have it. And we also have our PCman FM, no, our tuner here, and it's also in a very new version. We also have a 4.18 version, so yeah, we can easily add our split view in here, which is great. We also can make some links, not here, but in the edit function here above. We also have the make link version, and I can also put it into, so-called Schreibtisch, and now we have also our link to music at our desktop. So perfect, this also works quite good. Let us head over to the downloads. I also did a test on it right before, but you can also extract it here, create an archive. Yeah, it is also done quite easily, and yeah, I don't have too much to say. So I would say in the desktop and file manager part, Linux Mint Xfce wins because it has the best integration of every functions. It still has Ubuntu 2020.4 base, but they updated the Xfce version by themselves. And this is in my case a great service of the Linux Mint team. And I would say Linux Mint wins this case. But the others are doing also well. There isn't any part which is completely disappointing, in my opinion, I would say. Let us head over to another test, and now I want to configure the size of the fonts to a bit bigger size. For example, if you have a very small screen or you just want a bigger font size. And I would say let us open up the LXQt appearance settings. Here we have it, and here under appearance we have our font size. And now I can adjust the point size of the font, for example, to 13. I select apply, and then everything is a bit bigger. This is great. It is quite something to search, but LXQt supports something like this. So this is great for me and completely okay if we have it here in our LXQt appearance configuration. So I select close here. Let us head over to Xubuntu here. So I would try in the appearance settings. Yeah, here we also have a font setting, and now I can adjust the default font. It is at 9 by default. For example, I would say it also to 13. I would say select 13, perfect. Monospace font would then be, I guess, 14. And yeah, it just works quite fine. So I'm happy, but we also have to try it in the appearance here, not in the font settings, but that's okay for me. Let us head over to our Linux Mint Xfce. I'm searching here for fonts. No, there is also just the font viewer. So I select appearance in here. Perfect. This is a Xfce setting. We also can set it in here like in Xubuntu. And I would say in Debian Xfce we also have it in our appearance settings here. Yeah, perfect. Great. So yeah, this looks quite okay, I would say. Let us come to the last check, and that is the performance check and the use of system resources. I did a check on my German recording, so I would say let's come to the results. On Lubuntu, the system started in 11 seconds to the login screen and in 13 seconds to the desktop ready to use, excluding the time to type in your password. So Lubuntu can be started in 13 seconds, start, and after it you can start using your desktop. Xubuntu is the fastest one. It is started in 8 seconds to the login screen and also needs further 2 seconds to the complete desktop, and so to say after 10 seconds Xubuntu is ready to start. Linux Mint Xfce takes the longest time. You are at the login screen after 11 seconds, and after 3 more seconds your desktop is started. So in the end we are at 14 seconds here. That is the longest one. But I would say also okay, in about 14 seconds started is a value we can live with, I would say. On Debian, the login screen is started after 10 seconds. And after 2 more seconds, this desktop appears, so we can start to use it. So it also has a small time and is in the middle field here. So if it comes to the best time in booting and starting your desktop, then Xubuntu is the absolute winner. So let us head over to this disk space and memory usage. The disk space of Lubuntu is, after my test, I installed Bitwarden on every system, 8.9 gigabytes. And the used memory is the lowest one at 427 megabytes, which is a great value, I would say, for such a functional desktop. Well done, Lubuntu. Xubuntu has the highest disk space used. It is using about 15 gigabytes with Bitwarden, and in the memory usage it is using 550 megabytes, which is in the middle field, I would say. Linux Mint Xfce is using 13 gigabytes of disk space with Bitwarden installed and is using 587 megabytes. In the end, let us come to Debian. And Debian has the lowest disk space with Bitwarden installed and GNOME software installed afterwards, it is only using 6 GB of disk space, but it has the highest memory usage with exactly 725 megabytes. Just for an Xfce desktop, this is very, very much. Only installed Bitwarden and GNOME software and installed Xfce on the Debian by default. So I would say it isn't well optimized in this point, and in general I would say Debian Xfce doesn't compete very well in this test. It has a very high RAM usage, and in the functionality, especially in the software installation part, Debian isn't performing quite well by default. But that is okay for Debian. Debian is just Debian, you can build your system yourself. But I wanted to compare it in this video, and yeah, that's okay, I guess. So I would say let us come to the end of the video. Which is the best distribution for what? I would say let us come to Lubuntu. I would say Lubuntu is the absolute winner. We have a quite small disk space, we have the smallest memory usage, it has a start time which is okay, and I would say the desktop is quite okay. It isn't as functional as Xfce, but for that, what it wanted to be, a very light but functional desktop, it's a great result in my opinion. But if you want a bit more comfort, I would say Linux Mint Xfce is then the winner, because we also have a very great welcome screen. No other distribution in this test had it, so this is also a great start for new users. And like for example the tuner of Linux Mint Xfce has the best result, for example, and I would say this is worth of the second place. And if your hardware is okay with Linux Mint Xfce, I would choose Xfce over Lubuntu, but Lubuntu is also great, especially with the system resources. Linux Mint Xfce is here some of the lower parts. If you want a almost functional system which is starting very, very fast, then I would recommend, for example, Xubuntu. I'm using Xubuntu all the time for my virtual machines because they are started very, very, very fast. In about 10 seconds, I can start using my virtual machine. I'm working in the Linux support, and if someone calls, after 10 seconds, I can start with a remote desktop version in the VirtualBox, and this is a great performance here. And Xubuntu does it quite good, I would say, but in the direct comparison to Linux Mint Xfce, it isn't as comfortable as Linux Mint. In the end, there is Debian Xfce. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. It doesn't do anything wrong, but you see there are some things which aren't great configured by default. It also has the fewest software availability by default, and it's very bad at memory usage. But if you just want an Debian with a great Xfce desktop, which is quite modern also, then yeah, just go with Debian. There's nothing wrong about it, but I would say in this test, it's the weakest one of the four under which we tested the system. So what's your opinion? What's your personal winner? Which system do you use, for example? Let me know it, write it me into the comments, and if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and see you in the next one. Bye!